The approach here is to listen deeply.
We're going to have a deep breath.
There's no winner in this unless everyone wins.
Breathing deep into our heart.
Incubating the seeds of a new culture.
Us awakening to our dreams, the manifestations of creations for a healthy earth, a thriving
It's much easier to just unconditionally love everybody.
We're in an awakening process.
Evolving, and that really the act is for us to be nature, to act as nature, and that's
breathing
super
deep into our heart and acknowledging the gift that we are.
Welcome. This is Awaken Dream Earth, and this is the Technology of Self broadcast, where we're going to speak about the technology and spirit of water. And we have our dear Mark Wagnon, our advisor, our philosopher, our researcher, and information architect in so many realms that we just love in regards to spirit, technology, human embodiment, so much information. And today he's going to share what he's been studying and knowing about water. There's so much happening in the realm of water that we've discovered in the last 10, 20 years, including Masaru Emoto, Victor Schauberger, and so many different other scientists and students of water to discover that water itself is the Akashic Record of Earth. And that all this water running through us, the water in the clouds, the water in the grounds, we're all interwoven and interconnected. One thing that I love about water is it has and holds memory. So Mark, will you please introduce yourself and let us know about water? Oh, by the way, I'm D Love, Denise Eve Love. And pardon the background noise. I am living in the community, and there's construction, people, and dogs, and birds. And there might be a rain cloud coming as well, so maybe we'll have a rainbow. So Mark, let's talk about what we're going to talk more deeply, just to have an introduction for the next 20 minutes about water. And please introduce yourself. And also, everyone get a glass of water and maybe pray into it, drink it and sip it, and think about what the consciousness of water is within the water and the consciousness of water within yourself and all around. Okay. Woo, water. Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, beautiful, Denise. Thank you again so much. Well, kind of being an extreme generalist, I love touching on many elements or aspects of conscious evolution, and water is one of those elements that has such depth and such relationship with our experience here on this planet and on other worlds. They're discovering water on so many other worlds that they were looking for like particular frequencies of water. And when you're looking for just H2O, you're missing all the other aspects of water, the other configurations of water, which are quite numerous, actually. I'm thinking of, before I get into details though, I'm thinking of the fourth phase of water, for example, which is most often looked at as H3O2 instead of H2O, and the hexagonal version of water molecules and the different qualities and properties water has. And so, yeah, we can cover so many aspects of what influences the shape of water and the properties of water, and how it adapts to its environment, almost epigenetically, how it also relates to DNA and RNA, and how it forms a kind of a structure, a chiral structure around our double helix that then influences DNA. There's so many beautiful qualities, and the beauty of water, as we can show in some of the droplet photography, that's been done that shows that based on the conditions within the water or in the environment of water, the different ways it expresses itself when just a water droplet falls into a body of water, the different colors and shapes that water will express its current state. I can show some of that photography. And there are several key influences on water. I have a long list of water mentors that have influenced several water groups. And I haven't included all of them, but there are, how many do we have here? 1, 2, half a dozen or maybe a dozen and a half different researchers, explorers into water. One of my favorites, obviously, and many people's favorites, would be Masaru Emoto, who became an ancestor a few years ago, but his work just lives on, and he's got a long list of books that are very useful in understanding the nature of water in relationship to different vibrations, including emotions and thoughts and intentions. And then Victor Schauberger, another one that got so in deep relationship with water after just sitting still and communing with a stream of water, and one day just decided to give his consciousness to the water, to feel and learn what water loves to do, and how water responds to its environment so elegantly. And so much came out of that communing with water that he's written some of the most important things on the flow of water and the spirit of water, or dare we say, the consciousness of water. And so Victor Schauberger, one of my favorites. Gerald Pollack and the fourth phase of water is a whole other realm that's really taken off. I love the electromagnetic field associated with that fourth phase of water, and how most of the water within the human body is in the fourth state of water. Which, again, like who was it? I think way back long ago, a researcher named Gilbert Ling found that the water inside our cells is in the fourth stage of water. It's not typical water. It's not like what you're drinking. It's in the more gelatinous form, and has far more qualities that are in the fourth stage of water, very pure, very clear, and negatively charged. And positive attributes can be regulated as to what gets in the cell because of what's called in the fourth phase of water the exclusion zone, or EZ water, which excludes all else but the hydrogen and oxygen. And it's one of the many, many regulatory barriers of what gets into or out of a cell, which is one of the most highly regulated membranes that we know of in nature, is the cell membrane that helps regulate, well, do we need that in here or not? Especially right now when with so much talk about viruses, if your immune system is in good working order and you have good networking within your body, it makes a decision as to whether that virus even so many varieties of viruses, whether or not they can get in to a cell to pass on genetic information or not. So the fourth phase of water is a key element in our overall health and energy. Speaking of energy, there's some wonderful work by a scientist named Mark LeClaire, who did a lot of research on what do you call it, cavitation of water, so 0-point energy, has been produced in how that operation with water. I've got a link for Mark LeClaire's description of what they did and what cavitation of water is, and the intense amount of energy that can be released is just spectacular. I mean, you're talking like fusion reactions. And then, of course, there's Rudolf Steiner. Denise mentioned the Akashic Record of Earth being water. That's a notion that I first heard spoke by the Dene elder, Pat McCabe. She shifted from her Navajo focus on the sun and said that the masculine can look at that as the source of energy, which it is a source of energy. There's no question. The sun is a powerful influence on our fields here. But she, in the female approach, were really in awe of water. And I find that to be a beautiful relationship. And with all its memory, and there's several, I mean, there's Jacques Benveniste and his water memory experiments, as well as Peter Fisher. There are many that have gone deep into water memory. And if you mix water memory with technologies, it's amazing how capacious the memory storage is in water. I remember reading a little article from IBM about creating memory storage systems with just a few drops of water and how much it can hold. So water is a very, very, very small molecule. As a matter of fact, it's so small, it does make up over 99% of the molecules in a human body. By volume, it's only between 60 and 70%, like the Earth, you know, that biomimicry, you know, we're made up of the same proportion of water as the Earth itself in terms of volume. But because the molecule is so small, it represents, like I said, 99% of the water, 99% of the molecules in a human body in its various states. So we are so deeply connected with the relationship with water, not just in terms of other forms of memory within our system, that becomes our memories as well. That's why we have access to the genetic history on the planet through a constantly circulating, exchanging water molecules that are constantly coming into and leaving our bodies, that carry that record of evolution, that are part of us, that if we identify with just our current cellular memory or our genetic memory, our personal genetic memory, well, it has to include all the water memories too. There's a different form of memory that is related to the water. and that's accessible as are the Akashic records. So we can learn to appreciate that and its influence, and how it, like I said with Emoto's work, how it can, and many others. I know at some point we'd like to get Don Estes back on to talk about his sensors and his use of sound and light, and his how that affects water. Nikola Tesla has some stuff on water. I haven't put many of those links in there, but I've been using that a lot in my work in flow batteries and other forms of energy storage and transfer. Exceptional deep roots. And I could go on. There's a whole bunch of other water research, but that's a brief overview of some of the elements. I'd love to talk about water in more depth, and maybe bring guests to a panel to do deep dives into what they've discovered about water and its relationship to our consciousness.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to dive in more deeply about water, and specifically how in, for instance, the technology of self, how water affects our embodiment and how it affects our consciousness. I've done water rituals here in Tulum, Mexico, where there was sargasso, and the water was like brown, you know, or had months of sargasso seaweed. And then we did a water ceremony with 16 people where we had, you know, water and singing bowls, and doing singing into the water, having our own personal water, putting our prayers in the water. Like Masaru Emoto is, you speak to the water and the water molecule actually changes from a beautiful crystalline matrix of like a snowflake or a yantra, and a beautiful mandala, versus a corrupt, you know, ugly, like asymmetric, non-symmetrical. Like when water is symmetrical, when you have coherence and you say like, I love my water, I love me, these are my wishes for life on earth. And then we did all that in the ceremony, and then we poured it in a pitcher together, and then we poured it in the ocean. The next day the ocean was crystal clear, and we did it, you know, under the stars, and went swimming in the ocean, and we did this a couple times, and each time it was crystal clear and for months. And so there are people here doing that now more regularly, some other people doing that. And it's all about being, you know, really connected to your actual true intent, and also doing it together. Not I'm the shaman and I'm going to clear the water, but we do it together because we all have water. We're all connected. We all have that consciousness. So diving into how does water affect our consciousness? How does it affect our DNA? Looking at the beautiful mandalas, you know, Masaru Emoto, and then what you just shared with me, which is the water droplets. That's amazing. Do you think you can share that really quickly? We only have probably 5 more minutes to share about the introduction, but we can give some hints about what we're going to talk about, like what you were saying about the chiral of the DNA. I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk about this. I'm hoping we can do this tomorrow morning at the ocean.
Okay, I will first go through some slides,
Yeah.
images of some of the photography around water. Let's see here.
Wonderful. Yeah, take your time to, I'll just keep on talking. Yeah, so this is about the technology and spirit of water. This is just an introduction at the moment because we ran out of time, and took a while to set up, and we've got a lot of other projects going on, both Mark and me together and separately, and, you know, all intertwining. So water is one of the deep projects that we're in love with. Look at those water. They look like beings dancing and holding hands.
Yes. And the different types of
What is
material that are in the water, because these are water samples that have different elements in them. water is in so many different environments, and based on what's in the water, you end up with droplets forming these very unique shapes. And this is done with high-speed photography. And obviously there's different elements in this water that produces these different shapes. But it enters into some of the beauty around water. And I think we just lost, oh, my machine is getting overloaded. That's all.
It's super beautiful. Now we have Kiwi saying, yes, water. He has a beautiful bath. Kiwi, the parrot here. Kiwi! I just love how there's like water in everything, and water in my food. I was thinking about my food this morning and how it's been nourished by water. I put aloe on my face. It was so watery, and that plasma, like how water can be held and contained, how it works in our bodies and how it helps with life. Like we were talking about Victor Schauberger's implosion versus explosion, how water is implosive.
Yeah, my machine is getting a bit taxed. Well,
yeah, and my community is getting louder.
Maybe tomorrow morning.
Yeah, let's do that. So I appreciate this little introduction and this momentum. So I will see if
you're still on mute.
No, I'm not. I am not on mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't hear you, Denise.
Oh, that's weird. Well.
Yeah, well, we can pick up that over the last in the next recording or next session, and I will try to be available tomorrow morning. I think this is off week for one of my regular Saturday meetings, so I might be available tomorrow morning.
I have a meeting at 11.
I can't hear you, so.
That's so weird. I hope that works. Well, if you'd like to, can you end?
Okay.
Close? If you close the call.
It might be part of the recording, but I can't read your lips entirely. Okay. Yeah, we'll be in touch. Take care.
No, you talk. Well, if this is recording, if you can hear me, I just want to say thank you for participating and listening to this talk about water. So we hope to talk more about water and share the beauty of water on earth, in life, and the grace of all our creations. So thank you for joining Awaken Dream Synergy, and the technology of self is all about you, your water, your technology within. We're Awaken Dream Earth with multiple podcasts and offerings. And I'm D Love, and I'm chowing out. Enjoy drinking your water.